It's time to talk sports. It's Hacksaw's Headlines, a panorama of the world of sports, stories, comments, and opinions.
Touchdown, San Diego!
Now, here's iconic sports talk show host Lee Hacksaw Hamilton and co-host John Riley.
Who wants to talk sports on a Monday? We do, you do. From the DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Center studios in San Diego, coming off a great sports weekend, we welcome you to our version of March Madness, our Monday bonus podcast. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, along with my co-host with his opinions from left field, John Riley, and we welcome you to this Monday podcast. Brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers. Been in business for more than 100 years. You got projects, they've got materials. You want ideas, they can be your best friend and consultant. Go to DIXIELINE.com to see all the things they have to offer. John Riley, good afternoon. Wow, what a weekend of March Madness. We're talking hoops, and we're going to talk opening weekend of baseball. Got news and notes around the NFL, ton of NBA and NHL stuff. We're going lots of different directions.
Yeah, I mean, this whole the whole UConn Duke thing is crossed over outside of the world of sports. I'm seeing updates on CNN about it. It's crazy.
So we're going to invite you to be part of this podcast. We do sports talk the way it should be done. Put topics on the table, express opinions about those topics, and then we open it up to you. You have the chance to join us in the Fans Forum chat box. And John, for the new people watching on live stream, how does Fans Forum work?
Fans Forum is your chance to get involved. You have a question or comment in the world of sports for Hacksaw, drop your hot take in the live chat on YouTube, X, or Facebook. We'll get you involved.
And a reminder, I write about sports every day of the week. Have you checked my website? It's all written. It's there. It's absolutely free. Go to LeeHacksawHamilton.com. Hit the best 15 minutes in sports page. You'll get all the big stories in the world of sports. You need to read my one man's opinion column today on Tiger Woods. That's there too. And of course, when you go to my website, you can become part of Hacksaw's Insiders Group. You can register in the big orange box, get on the email list. John and I send out 2 emails every day of the week, Monday through Friday, absolutely free to your inbox. So make sure you register for that. Want you to share, tell everybody who we are, what we do, Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30. Subscribe. When you subscribe, you will get the alerts, ding, 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 on the YouTube channel when we put additional videos up. John and I counted up last week. We put 28 additional videos on the YouTube channel in addition to the award-winning podcast. So there's lots of ways for you. Share, subscribe, and you can help us grow this thing. We're trying to bust through the 10,000 subscriber level. Give us a thumbs up, hit the follow button, and if you want, we want you on Apple. On Apple, give us a 5-star rating. It helps us a great deal. Business done, topics on the table. Where do you want to start?
March Madness. You got to go right there. I mean, geez, Arizona looked dominant, too.
Oh, nice headline. Blowouts and upsets, and that's the storyline everywhere. Let's first of all start with what happened. Arizona. They bury Arkansas. Arkansas, with all that firepower, live by the 3, die by the 3, and Arizona beat them 109-88. They held Arkansas to 5 of 23 on threes, and then they turned around. Arizona, with its bigs, just pounded Purdue into submission. Coapete, the 2 guards, the big centers. Arizona, complete basketball team. Man, are they playing well. And then there was Illinois, a.k.a. Team Euro. How did those guys get to Champaign-Urbana? They held Houston to 34% shooting in the first game they played. Then they held Iowa to 29% shooting in the second half of that game, and their bigs just took over in a landslide Illinois win over Iowa. Then there's the men from Michigan, Yex Lendenborg. Wow. How about Michigan? 21-0 scoring run, a 34-10 scoring burst. They held Tennessee to 20% shooting in the second half of that game. And they went on to win 95-62. Yaks with 27.7 rebounds. He has grown into such a man for the Michigan Wolverines. And then there was Duke. Holy cow, it happened to them for the second year in a row. Last year they stood around and lost in that game on a 9-0 run, got eliminated. And then yesterday, UConn was just spectacular. A 19-point deficit. They rally, they come back, they win. Braylon Mullins, 35-point shot from just outside the logo. UConn was 1 for 18 from beyond the arc and then hit 4 of their last 5 3-point shots to make it happen. Terrace Reed, spectacular. 27-7. He's grown into being a man. And I'll tell you, for the Boozers, what a heartbreak. 45 points between them, and they wound up losing. And the whole world was shocked. They were shocked at the last play. They were shocked at the turnover that Duke committed. But understand this, these are 19-year-old kids. And at the end of the day, I think the biggest fear factor that Cam Boozer had was he was going to get caught with a time clock violation. He was trying to get the ball across midcourt. He didn't want to turn it over because he was double-teamed, so he tried to throw it and was deflected. UConn picks it up. Mullins hits a 3-point shot. But these are 19-year-old kids who are expecting to make a snap judgment decision. He knew where he was on the court, but he knew the clock was ticking because of the full-court press. Hell of a game, 73-72, and UConn just continues to march. I mean, they are spectacular, and they played so many pressure point games and come away with the victory. Crushing, devastating defeat for the Duke Blue Devils. John, bottle it, save it. Man, it was spectacular, wasn't it?
This is the best sports event of the year. I mean, you take this tournament in total. I mean, we haven't seen the mid-majors this year. None of them made Sweet 16. But these teams, and we're getting powerhouse teams, spectacular finishes. You know, I had picked Arizona over Duke in my bracket. And I'm shocked that Duke got knocked out. But didn't you say in the best 15 that Arizona hasn't been to the Final Four since 2001?
Exactly.
I mean, that's surprising to me because that's such a great program. But you just love seeing Steve Kerr out there in the stands, you know, rooting on the Wildcats, everything about it. It's all good. Illinois, you know, they kind of snuffed out Iowa. Iowa's sort of on a San Diego State kind of 2023 run. You know, number 9 seed almost got into the Final Four.
How about Team Euro, though? All their bigs from abroad. Holy cow. Illinois is just... if they come together. What a job Brad Underwood has done recruiting abroad. That's what's made the difference. Yeah,
and I think that's the monkey wrench that's going to get thrown into all this transfer portal story is that you're going to see a lot more international recruiting. Michigan, it's too bad that Michigan and Arizona don't meet in the final because I think those are the two strongest teams. But you know, we're going to get some more Dan Hurley next weekend. I mean, enough of that guy running around yelling at everybody.
Just amazing. What a phenomenal Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday we had, and now we march. Take a deep breath. Here comes the weekend. Final Four, Indianapolis. There are other topics on the table, but if you want to comment on what you just saw, feel free. Join us. Fans Forum chat box is open. Talk about who's hot, who's not, who didn't get there as we go to the Final Four. A couple of other college basketball headlines.
Yeah, we got some news and notes. San Diego State and Utah State.
Aztecs are saying goodbye to Miles Byrd. He gave us 4 years. He's going to go try to polish his craft somewhere else. He's not an NBA draft candidate, really, unless he thinks he's going to like playing in Fargo in the NBA G League. He's a great defensive player, but his offensive game has kind of gone away. So he's going to transfer, get a payday. As Brian Dutcher said, he has the right. He's going to graduate. He has the right to go be a pro in somebody else's college basketball program. But he's been a great player. But he never quite became the complete player we thought he would, so he leaves. The other big story is what's gone on at Utah State. They lost their coach again, third straight successful coach who's vacated to take another job. This time, Jared Calhoun goes to the University of Cincinnati. And now there's going to be a mass exodus from Logan, Utah. They're all going to wind up on the 513 area code. Carson Templin, the big 6'9", 230-pound do-it-yourself setter.
Yeah.
He's the first guy into the portal. He's probably going to go to Cincinnati to join his coach. Utah State must just be feeling really bad about itself because they find these good coaches. They've put together all these good seasons, and they've lost every coach. They've lost every good player they have, and now Calhoun's gone to Cincinnati. He's going to take the roster with him.
Yeah, he is. I mean, Carson Templin's the guy you love to hate. You know, he's the guy that's like the punk on the court.
But he is a good player.
He is a good player.
In his defined role.
Yeah, and he's a sixth man, comes off the bench, brings the toughness and all the energy. You know, I'm going to salute Miles Byrd. I mean, what a hell of a player. I mean, you know, he was the last piece from the championship game team. But he had a great career. The fact that he was even considered in the NBA draft last year is remarkable. I mean, considering, you know, he didn't play his freshman year, redshirted, but he's a special guy, be an Aztec for life. And if he is able to do what Lamont Butler and Keyshawn Johnson did, go to a big school, make some bank, and then throw your hat in the ring to see if you get on an NBA squad, you know, they could be G League like Keyshawn, but Keyshawn's worked himself up into the prime time.
It'll be interesting. Miles has so many dynamic aspects to his game. I mean, that's a 6'5" kid that plays with a reach of 6'10", and he's become very much an accomplished defensive specialist. But in the NBA, there's all kinds of athletes, and they're all explosive, and they're all leapers. He's none of that. He's just got reach, and he's got a uniqueness to be able to make defensive stops and plays around the basket. He's going to have to polish his offensive game. We know he can hit threes, but he's never hit threes consistently. We know there is some penetration, and he can get to the basket, but he's never done that consistently. Part of me is say thank you, because he
definitely
developed. But part of me is really disappointed. For a kid that spent all last summer working out with NBA draft picks, I would have expected him to come back and be more polished and be a complete player for the Aztecs, and he was so far from that. And so I'm a little disappointed there, but he's got a right to live. He's graduating on time. Good luck to him. We'll find out where he goes.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where he lands, but you know, is there a place in the NBA for a defensive specialist like a Michael Cooper type?
But the defensive specialists are leapers. He's not that kind of player.
No, I mean, I just think he's going to get bullied in the NBA. He's just those guys are so much bigger.
Exactly.
You know, he's got the reach, and yeah, he can be disruptive. But you know, some of those, you know, fly into the rim for the one-hand slam dunk. There's no pathway in the NBA for that.
You know, a year ago this time, who's the big guy we were talking about? San Diego State, Jaden Ledee. And he looked like a complete player. He looked like a man. He never got a chance in the NBA. Went to camp, got cut, had to go abroad.
He was too old.
Well, it doesn't matter. If you're 25 and you can play at 6'9", you're 25 and you can play at 6'9". I just don't think Bird is anywhere complete to what Ledee was, and Ledee didn't make it.
Yeah, I mean, it's hella hard. And again, with all these international players, there's only so many seats on the bench there.
That's right.
It's tough.
So we salute Miles Byrd. You got a comment about the Aztecs, comment about Utah State. Oh, they keep finding good coaches and they keep losing their coaches, and they're losing their players. Welcome to college basketball 2026. We go from that. Let's talk about NBA basketball off the court.
Off the court, there's some solutions here to the tanking crisis.
2 weeks ago, Adam Silver made the public comment, we're going to fix this. I mean, they got 5 teams in the NBA that sure look like they are intentionally tanking, losing games on purpose. And Silver is really upset about the lack of integrity that some of these clubs are showing about their product. Lack of integrity towards the fans, towards the network media sponsors, etc. So he said, we will develop a plan to change the draft lottery to stop tanking. Well, they've come up with 3 proposals, and I don't like any of them. One is called the 18-team proposal. And what they'll do is they'll take the 10 non-playoff teams who are all eligible for the lottery, and then they're going to add 8 teams from the play-in series. So the fringe playoff teams who have to go through that best-of-3 series will also be included with the 10 non-playoff teams. I don't see how that impacts tanking. Tanking's still tanking. So I don't like the 18 proposal. Now there's another one. They've proposed also a 22-team lottery. You're kidding me. The 22-team lottery would involve the non-playoff teams. It would involve the guys in the play-in. And it would involve the 4 first-round losers in the first round of regulation. Why?
So losers get rewarded.
So you're cluttering the thing even more. So I don't like that. And the third one, this is really weird. It's called a double lottery. The one with the 5 worst records, the Utahs, the Sacramentos, all the ones that are tanking right now.
Yeah.
they would have their own separate lottery. Then 13 others would have a second lottery to determine picks 6 through whatever.
Yeah.
This one maybe sounds more reasonable because the 5 worst have a shot at the best players. They'd be the only ones who would have the shot. They'd have their own separate lottery, and then the next group would have a second lottery, which I think is stupid. But at the end of the day, how does that stop tanking? It doesn't stop tanking because everybody's going to tank so they can get access to the kid from North Carolina or the kid from BYU.
Yeah.
They haven't solved anything. They've talked and took all these proposals. You know, they were talking about stripping them of draft picks. Well, that doesn't help a bad product get better. They're talking about $1 million fines. These are rich men. They give up money. I don't understand. NBA's got a crisis on its hands, and I don't know how they're going to solve it. You know, they dumped the idea of let's just get away with the weighted lottery. Everybody who didn't qualify for the playoffs gets one chip. Or they gave up the idea of everybody in the standings gets one shot at the top pick in that form of lottery. How are you going to end tanking? So, John, do you like any of these?
No. I mean, and to your point, like in the double lottery, if you're sitting 6 or 7, you still have an incentive to tank to get into the top 5. You know, for the special elite draft. Now, see, I think when you start making it more and more complex, it makes the whole thing worse. And
absurd.
Yes, it makes it absurd. It's kind of like NFL overtime. The more crazy they change the rules, it just makes it more absurd. Here's my solution. Go with a hard cap, okay, and not any like what are they have those Larry Bird rules and you know where you can exceed the cap and there's all these like kind of like ways you can distort it. Get rid of all that.
No, you can't do that. That has to be negotiated through the union.
Well, but hear me out on this. So the idea though is that you have a hard cap and then you have no draft. Okay, it's all free agency. Okay, so you would expect that a team like the Sacramento Kings or the Utah Jazz probably have a lot of payroll space, you know, because they don't have tons of superstars. So they'll be able to offer, you know, a very competitive package to the top draft picks. And teams like the Lakers who don't have much wiggle room, they won't be able to offer as much. And so I think it'll still get you the same effect where the weaker teams are getting the better talent, but you strip away and simplify it. And frankly, the draft, in my opinion, I mean, there's sometimes, you know, it's like when John Elway didn't want to be drafted by the Colts, you know. I mean, it's like indentured servitude, you know. They should be able to play where they want to play.
My phone just rang. It's the owner of the Lakers saying you're full of crap.
Well, yeah. But I know it's a radical idea, but it would simplify the whole thing. There'd be no lottery. There'd be none of this double lottery only for these teams, playoff teams in or out. Just the whole thing is just you have a hard cap and it's all free agency.
I don't know. They had a think tank. They had every general manager in the league give them recommendations, and they came up with this. And this is so absurd.
Well, it's like something that comes out of a committee, right? You know, you just get goofy shit.
Just terrible. So that's where we are. You're an NBA fan. You want to solve this? Give me a solution. Fans Forum chat box is open. So we got March Madness to talk about. We're saying goodbye to Miles Bird. And you solve the problem with tanking in the NBA. It's bad enough that a lot of the games are unwatchable. Now we're dealing with tanking and the rules of the game and the rules of the lottery. Okay, we go from all things hoops. Transition. Major League Baseball first weekend of the season is come and gone.
Yeah, the Padres and the Tigers kicked off the season.
Yeah, let's just talk about the Padres. Randy Velasquez has found his velocity, found his movement. Boy, has he been impressive in what he did, obviously, against a pretty good Detroit Tiger team. Was very impressive in the final game of that Padre-Tiger series. Nick Pivetta got roughed up in his first 3 innings. Let's just work with him and just see how he comes out. Michael King, he got banged around a lot. He grinded his way, but he gave up home runs, he gave up hits, he walked batters. This is work in progress. So those are your top 3 starters. Walker Buehler starts tonight against the Giants, and we're holding our breath. Only word I can use is patience. I mean, the fact that he has had the fortitude to come back from 2 Tommy John surgeries and is still out on the mound grinding. Let's just see what happens with Buehler. Meanwhile, down on the farm, Matt Waldron, first start AAA El Paso. 3 shutout innings, no runs for El Paso on the road in Sacramento. He's not ready to be recalled yet. Jason Adam, 1 1/3 in his first inning back from all the surgeries, gave up only 1 hit, probably one more outing at AAA, and then he gets activated and brought up. Sun Moon Song, the Korean shortstop, the big free agent, a lot of money tied up in him. He's real struggled. 1 for 11 his first 3 games at AAA El Paso. Meanwhile, it's early, but I'm just going to present you these statistics. I know it's early. I don't want anybody jumping on Fans Forum and say, hater. It's early. But Tatis did not hit in the spring, and he's 2 for 11 so far. Merrill did not hit in the spring. He's 2 for 11 through the first 3 games. Machado is not hit in the spring. He's 2 for 8. Sheets is 0 for 8. Andujar is 1 for 7. And Castillo is 1 for 6. I should say Castellanos is 1 for 6. So all these guys have had all the spring training. Some of them obviously went to the WBC. None of them hit. Team batting average as of tonight, going into the second series of the season, is 204. I'm not a hater. I'm just giving you these statistics and these storylines as we sit here and talk to you on a Monday bonus podcast. So, John, Vasquez, boy, is he taking a leap. We got question marks about the rest of these starting pitchers, and we'll be paying attention to what's going on the farm. And how come these guys in the batting order aren't hitting yet? Go ahead.
Go ahead. All right. Well, yeah, I mean, Vasquez was fantastic. He's taken a step forward, and all the tutelage of Yu Darvish, and kind of reinventing himself, getting more velocity, a little more consistent into the zone. You'd love to see that. Estrada blew up in the bullpen when he walked all those guys, and then Pivetta blew up in game 1. But outside of that, I mean, there's been a lot of bright spots. I mean, like Kyle Hart went 2 innings, no hits, no runs, so there's a lot of other bright spots in the bullpen that have looked pretty good. But, to your point, you've got Jason Adam down in El Paso. You've even got, the knuckleballer Waldron. The Padres have a lot of depth in pitching. I mean, right now they have a great bullpen, and Jason Adam would be an upgrade, but then you decide, well, who gets bumped, because no one's going to be hurt. It makes you wonder if AJ would ever trade from that bullpen depth, or are they just going to have like a frequent flyer miles going between San Diego and El Paso, the way that the Dodgers went from OKC to LA? So that'd be something like that. The hitting, Ramon Laureano is just tearing it up. I mean, move that guy up in the order, like in the top 5. He is so deserving. Xander's hit the ball hard. Don't worry too much about, these numbers are early, but they faced, 2 really good pitchers in Framber Valdez and Tarek Skubal. So I was hoping they'd be win 2, lose 1. It was the other way around, 1-1, lost 2. But it's all right. I mean, they're playing the Giants. The Padres should win the Giants series.
So at the end of the day, I'm not a hater. Now, if you want to infer that he's an excuse maker, well, you can do that. Oh. Fans Forum chat box is open. Talk about the start of the Padres season. There's nothing wrong at Dodger Stadium. That's the next baseball topic.
Yeah, we got the ownerships and the GMs speaking out.
Dodgers, first of all, are 3-0. Most stunning statistic, the Dodgers are 3-0, and the rest of the division, I believe, is 1-10 in the National League West.
1-10?
Yes. So here we are.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we got that. This is an interesting conversation. Mark Walters, the head of Guggenheim, owns the Dodgers, now obviously owns the Lakers. Mark Guggenheim, in an interview on Saturday, made this statement. Everybody's asking him about the world hates the evil umpire. You're going to be the enemy in everybody's ballpark, to which he says, we've owned it. We proved it. We can win. We have a good organization. Don't care what anybody else thinks. However, Mark Walters says baseball needs parity. Baseball needs parity. He also then tagged on, whatever rules are changed as it relates to dollars, economics, budgets, payrolls, we'll work with it. We'll solve it and we'll win again. Dodger arrogance. But at the end of the day, he says baseball needs parity. Now, he did not mention the word baseball needs salary cap. He knows that baseball has a fairly steep, tough luxury tax, but that's really interesting that what he had to say. Meanwhile, back on the field, I am surprised. Dave Roberts is given the ball tonight to Roki Sasaki. His ERA is 15.58. I'm really stunned that Sasaki is being allowed to be a starting pitcher after getting strafed 3 straight times in spring training and not showing any ability to control his pitches. He's just lost out there. His mechanics are out of sync. He's got no confidence in his third pitch. He's walking the house, and he's still in the Dodger rotation. I don't know how much longer that will last if he has another walk-the-house outing against the Cleveland Guardians tonight. Speaking of guys who didn't make the Dodger roster, Hyun-Soo Kim, the young second baseman, shortstop, third baseman, outfielder, Oklahoma City, 7 for 14 right out of the gate in the Pacific Coast League.
Well, he should have been on the roster.
So go ahead. Comment on what Mark Walter had to say and all things Dodger baseball.
Well, yeah, Hyun-Soo Kim, I mean, he got screwed. He was hitting over 400 in spring, right?
They kept the guy hitting 107.
Yeah, so, I mean, good for you for going down to Oklahoma City, just proving it, put the numbers up, you'll get called up. You know, like, did Mark Walter say that they were willing to share the revenue that they get from their own television network? Probably not.
No, but that's going to be part of the formula.
Yeah, it's got to be. So, I mean, it's kind of like rich people saying they're for tax cuts. You're like, yeah, sure you are. You know, sure, this guy really wants parity in the league. It's just the right thing to say, you know. But again, I'm not. It's fun that we call the Dodgers the evil empire, but they have a really good organization. Are they evil? No. But in the world of baseball rivalry, Padres, Giants, yeah, the Dodgers are the evil empire. But they do things right. They make great decisions. But there is a huge disparity in the dollar figures.
Well, the reality, we talked about it last week.
Yeah, so they're going to have to resolve that at some point. But in my opinion, the Dodgers aren't so much the problem as the bottom feeders are the problem.
Bottom feeders, exactly. Florida payroll, exactly. Mm-hmm. But the scoreboard does not lie. Dodgers payroll is $403 million. All right? You got 8 teams have payrolls under $100 million. That's a problem because baseball and the union allows that to happen. Now, the Dodgers TV contract, Dodgers make $330 million a year on their TV contract.
That's like 10 times what the Padres make.
Padres make $40 million.
40, okay, yeah.
You know,
so 9 times.
A lot of these guys are not making the big TV revenue because of the collapse of the regional sports networks. So there will be a bigger tax on the Dodgers, on the Yankees, on the Mets, on the Red Sox. And the owners are going to have to agree to that bigger tax to pour more money into the revenue share pot. But that has to come with a mandate. That money has to be spent by the Pirates and the Tigers and Miami and the Tampa Bays of the world. So, again, as we have argued extensively, I don't need a salary cap. Luxury tax holds its own. But the breakdown and the taxing on the TV revenue is going to make things different. That has to go to a floor to spending, and you have to spend that money. Okay, that's all things Dodgers. Let's talk about the Angels just very briefly. Rugged start. The pitching help is on the way. Do you think their general manager listened to this podcast? He stood up and talked on Sunday about the pitchers that are on the way. We've been very critical of the Angels and their lack of pitching. Ty Bremner, the number 1 pick out of UCSB, this kid that throws 100, he might be the next Paul Skeens, has just been assigned to High A, Tri-Cities, Washington. That's where he's going to start his career. He is on a fast track to get to the Big A. I don't think he gets to the Big A this year, but we'll be paying attention when I check the out-of-town scoreboard as to how his starts go. They got a kid at AAA. They're working hard. George Klassen, they think he's the next one coming. They think Sam Aldahiri, who's had cups of coffee, has shown flashes, hasn't. He's back at AAA. They think he's going to be something to keep an eye on. And the fourth one is Ryan Johnson. And Ryan Johnson is being given the ball and is going to start tonight. Jack Kuchanowicz, who had that fabulous spring, 1.98. Boy, he got lit in his first start against Houston. 4 innings, 6 runs, 4 hits, 5 walks. ton of guys on base. So Kichanowicz, despite what he did in the Cactus League, went out in his first start against Houston and pitched really, really poorly. So that's where we are. Drew Pomeranz, 1 inning, 3 runs allowed. They lost the game because he couldn't keep guys from scoring. The Angels got holes everywhere. But I would have to say that the Angels general manager must have heard what we said about Swiss cheese pitching, holes in your rotation, because the pitchers kind of got banged all over the place down in Houston.
Well, opening day, Soriano had a great outing.
Yes.
So it's kind of hit and miss here. But, do you think, we know the kid that went to Santa Barbara is legit.
Bremner.
Yeah, but all these other kids, do you think this is just a sales job that they're trying to pacify the season ticket holders? Or is this legit 5-star talent that's coming up?
Well, we don't know if it's 5-star. They would say prospects. The critics would say suspects. Until you've done it in the show, you haven't done it yet. So we'll just be tracking all these guys that their management team has just talked about. They got 4 starters on the way. We'll see how they do and how many of them get to the Big A this season because they're still short on pitching. By the way, speaking of pitching, Tatsuya Imai, Houston, made his first start. The Japanese pitcher that everybody was bidding on, 2.2 innings, 4 runs, 4 walks, 3 hits. He had 7 base runners and 2+ innings for the Astros. And again, he's not a kid. He's 29. So that jump to the major leagues, that bears watching.
Yeah, it's a whole new level. Not everybody's Shohei Ohtani.
Exactly. Okay, so we got that. Last baseball topic before we get to halftime. You're a Padre fan, you're a Dodger fan, an Angel fan. Your Fans Forum chat box is available. Feel free to jump in with a question and answer a statement. The debut of ABS automated balls and strikes.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of entertaining moments over the weekend.
Cincinnati and the Red Sox. Home plate umpire C.B. Buckner. Is it too early to give out a postseason award? Is it too early for me to give out the Angel Hernandez Incompetence Award? C.B. Buckner, home plate umpire, Red Sox. Cincinnati invoked ABS 5 times in the first 3 innings of the game against Boston and won all 5. Buckner was just miserable behind the plate. It's like he lost his mind with the criticism. And then Trevor Story lost his mind after a bad pitch check swing that was called a strike that was not a check swing, or should have been a check swing, not strike 3. And Buckner just flipped him off, threw him out of the game. And the manager got thrown out of the game. C.B. Buckner, nice day of work. Talk about bad day at the office.
Yeah.
Can I nominate him for the Angel Hernandez Incompetence Award this early in the season? I mean, Cincinnati, 5 challenges, won all 5 challenges over this guy's balls and strike calls at home plate.
Yeah, like everything about this is fantastic. Okay, A, you're getting it right, okay,
yes.
Which is great. Number 2, it's a new system, but it's working flawlessly. There's no hiccups. That replay comes like right away. The players, for the most part, are calling the thing right away. And we're seeing that these players, and especially the catchers, are really good. In a lot of cases, a lot better than, the old dude behind him, that's umping the game. So, but it's just the dynamic in the stands, especially in that Red Sox game, because I think Eugenio Suarez was up, and he did it twice in one at bat and won both of them.
Back-to-back pitches.
Yeah, and so just the entertainment value here of the umpires, like having these little battles, with reality, and then oftentimes losing. A lot of times we like to say, it's a lot harder than it looks, and if you really look at all the numbers, they're still 98% or whatever it is. But come on, man. I mean, it's great that we're getting it right. Now, in my opinion, they should do ABS for every pitch. But for now, I'm happy. I like it.
E.B. Buckner, holy cow. What just an awful game. And the whole world has seen it. The whole world has seen the montage of all the blown balls and strikes calls, and the batters just all the time.
Yeah,
it was just absolutely
Well,
stunning.
they're even creating like new statistics, like the number like for Luis Campusano for the Padres. What's his success ratio? He's 3 for 3 on overturns. I think this is great.
Yeah. That's where we are. You're a baseball fan. You want to do this too? Feel free. Jump on board. Fans Forum Podcast chat box is open for business. We're at halftime. This podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers. Been in business for more than 100 years in San Diego. You got projects, they've got materials. And they have a tool department at every one of the DIXIELINE stores that is a knockout. If you're a do-it-yourselfer in the garage, in the basement, love projects, in-house, outside by the pool, you got to think about DIXIELINE, John, and all the things they have to offer.
Yeah, it's like your neighborhood hardware store. You got to go down there, you get some, nuts and bolts and skill saw blades and all kinds of different things that you need for the do-it-yourselfer. But, this is also like a legit lumber yard, where contractors and builders come rolling in. They get lumber, a lot of the framing lumber for building new homes, new multifamily dwellings. And then also during the spring here, some of the DIXIELINE stores have a garden department, and so they're selling a lot of the mulch, a lot of the extra soil, and sometimes in some cases some plants. So things you can do to kind of clean up and freshen up your house for the spring.
You think DIXIELINE will help me with the tree root problem in my front yard, which has wrecked my lawn? Yeah, they probably can.
I don't know how people get those things out without getting like a tractor and yanking it out.
And I've done that too. DIXIELINE Lumber, been in business for more than 100 years. They can serve you. Just go to DIXIELINE.com to see all the things that they have to offer. Monday bonus podcast is underway. Just a reminder, we put topics on the table because we do sports talk the way it should be done. We express opinions, and then when we're done, we open it up to you to tell us what you've got to say. It's called Fans Forum. John invented this. This is his fault. If you love it, great. If you don't, blame him. But, John, how does Fans Forum work?
Yeah, look at these guys piling in. Music to my ears, a teamer, sports fan. I see Richard. I see Casey in line. Who else is in there? We got Mike Chance and guys. They're smack talking each other in the live chat. So, hey, if you got a question or comment, you got plenty of time. Just drop your hot take in the chat box on Facebook, on YouTube, or on X, and we'll get you involved in Fans Forum.
Reminder, I write about sports every day of the week. You should check my website. It's bleeping brilliant. Just go to LeeHacksawHamilton.com. You won't believe the volume of stories that I make available. Read my best 15 minutes in sports. It's posted. It's there first thing every morning. Read my one man's opinion column. I got a pointed piece today at this hour about Tiger Woods. If you're a golf fan, one man's opinion. And when you go to the webpage, there's a big orange box on the right-hand side. Fill it out. Get on the email list because John and I send out 2 sports emails every day. You'll get our sports newsletters in your inbox. So sign up for that. It's absolutely free. Want you to share? Tell everybody what we do. Hacksaw's back Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. When you do that, you will get the alert. Ding, 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 ding. Every time we put additional videos up on the YouTube channel. You can help us grow this thing immensely. We have almost 10,000 subscribers. We're trying to bust through that top limit. Give us a thumbs up. Hit the follow button. And if you want to, on Apple TV, you can give us a 5-star rating. Hit that button. It helps us grow this thing a great deal. You're on social media. I know you're on social media. I want you to follow me on social media. Just go to Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, hit the follow button, or Hacksaw 1090, hit the follow button. That way you can participate in all your mini polls. It's all John's fault. John created this podcast. John's created this social media platform that stretches from here to there. It's amazing. We're on 12 different platforms now.
Well, it's a good marriage between the two of us because you just got constant sports takes, just a fire hose of information, and I'm just trying to capture it all and get it online to share with everyone else. It's all good.
You're right. I am unbearable.
Yeah, you are.
But hope you'll become part of the team. Thanks for being part of the team. Let's move to the second half. John, we've gone from hoops, we've covered baseball, and we got off-season football to talk about.
Yeah, off the field news, starting with the Raiders.
Yeah, this is a really sad story. This is a guy that had a lot of talent. This is a guy that had a real troubled life. Barrett Robbins has passed away. He was the the Pro Bowl center during the last Raiders run to the Super Bowl. Spent 9 years with the Raiders. He has fought through bipolar disorder, fought through depression. We believe he died of a heart attack at home in Texas. He was only 52 years of age. His post-football career was marred by things with arrests, a lot of domestic abuse issues, social disorder. And this is an offshoot of what we talked about 2 weeks ago with the young Minnesota Viking, Arizona Cardinal wide receiver Rondale Moore, who killed himself. Barrett Robbins has had a lot of social problems and has had problems while he played. And, I asked the question, where's the union in all this? Where's the union that has the ability to reach out, the tentacles, to reach out and help players even in retirement? How come that does not stretch to the Barrett Robbins or the Rondale Moores of the world? That's a sad story. Raider players are very sad. He was a hell of a teammate. He had a lot of issues. He played at TCU, got to the NFL, and really kind of became an anchor of that very good Raider front that protected Rich Gannon when they had that final run to the Super Bowl. But he's passed away at the age of 52. Where the hell is the union? Second one, Pittsburgh Steelers. They invented the Rooney Rule. And that Rooney Rule is now under attack. And the Florida Attorney General's office is filing litigation against the National Football League that the Rooney Rule is racist. The Rooney Rule forces you, according to the Florida Attorney General, to interview minority candidates who aren't qualified. And the Florida Attorney General's of the opinion the best jobs in the NFL should go on merit, not on race relations. Now, this is so strange for this to happen because the general consensus is the Rooney Rule has opened up opportunities for African-American minority assistant coaches to actually get interviews in front of owners and search committees and general managers to become known, to present your qualifications. Whether you get hired or not is a different set of standards, but at least you have the exposure. So here, the Florida AG is saying this is racist. You don't need to force the general manager of my NFL team to have to interview all these minority candidates. But on the other side of the street corner is Brian Flores, the legendary defensive coordinator, who's suing the NFL, saying the Rooney Rule is all bogus. It's discriminatory against African Americans because decisions have already been made. That's why Flores has filed this lawsuit that's winding its way through all the courts, going to maybe wind up in front of the Supreme Court. So Florida Attorney General is attacking the NFL right now about the Rooney Rule. Get rid of it. That's the second story in the NFL. Third one is with the LA Rams. Owners' meetings have just started in Scottsdale, Arizona today. Sean McVay, Rams head coach, bombarded with questions not about his roster, not about the greatness of Matthew Stafford, not about the trades they made to fix their secondary, bombarded with questions about Puka Nacua, the star young wide receiver, who's about to ask for $40 million a year. Nacua has really gone off track in this offseason, John. He's been involved in 3 different incidents with women, parties, public intoxication, social media comments that he's made which are kind of off track. And Sean McVay was asked that multiple times this morning at the Monday coaches interview sessions at the owners' meeting over in Scottsdale. And his response was, this is a great player, but this great player has a responsibility away from the football field. We have standards for this great football player in this locker room, but also off the field. There's something not right with the way Puka Nacua is acting. Has it gone to his head, running with the wrong group of people? He's involved with 3 different things now. He's being sued for biting women. Biting. There's something not right.
That's like Tyson Holyfield.
Exactly. So that's where we are. McVay was bombarded with those questions about Puka, and they have not given him a contract extension yet. So I bet privately they got to be concerned about who he is, why is he acting this way, who's he running with? Because, boy, since January, and it is only March, he's made some really bad decisions off the field. So interesting. So you want to talk about the tragedy within the Raiders, the Rooney Rule, or Puka?
Well, just quick shots on all three of those. Number one is I remember Barrett Robbins. Wasn't he the guy that for the Raiders Buccaneers Super Bowl at Qualcomm in 2002?
Disappeared.
And yeah, he went on a binge in Tijuana apparently.
He got off his meds and went drinking.
And so so he's missed the Super Bowl, so clearly he has a lot going on in between his ears that he needed to get help. It's a sad thing that he's passed away, but I do remember him.
That doesn't beg the question, where's the union in all this? Can't the union help these players while they're players? Didn't help Rondale Moore. He killed himself. And is there a responsibility in retirement to help guide guys? Or do guys have a responsibility to go to the union and say, I need help?
Well, that bar has been getting lifted higher and higher because we've had a lot of tragedies like Junior Seau, and we could go down and make a list of guys that have been, that are no longer with us because of mental health issues. So, in my opinion, it's not just the union. You got the organization, the player, the agent, the players, family and friends all got to be looking out for each other. I mean, so it's a shame, but athletes aren't superheroes. They're flawed humans, just like you and I. So, anyways, tough one for Raider Nation. I'm kind of thinking, the Rooney Rule. I mean, there was probably a time when the Rooney Rule made sense. But it's not like the NFL owners should be forced to interview Asian head coach candidates, or it's just kind of silly, So in my opinion, you interview the best candidate. Now, Brian Flores, that was a dog and pony show that was done by one of the teams that certainly had no intention of hiring him, but brought him in because he was the token minority. Because that was their requirement. They probably had someone in mind right from the get-go. And which I can't blame them for that. I mean, I think any NFL team. The owner probably has his own war room with all the next head coaches he'd like to sign. So I don't blame a team for having a dude in mind. But then if you're forced to interview minority candidates, then people like Brian Flores get toyed with. And really that's dishonest and unfair to him. Because he's just made a token in this whole thing. So the whole process, I think we've gotten to the point now where there are qualified men of color that have gotten NFL head coaching, assistant coaching jobs in the NFL and have done very well.
Tony Dungy is the marquee one.
Mike Tomlin is one. I mean, and then other guys like Robert Saleh have gotten a second shot. And, so we've evolved a lot in the last 20 years, 30 years. So I think it's just time, content of character, not color of skin. Okay, so you think it served its purpose? Yes, but I think it's okay to turn the page. That doesn't mean that we're going to go back to discriminating. It means that we are more mature and we're going to do the right thing. And what's your reaction about the Rams do with Puka Nacua? Now, he was a squeaky clean boy out of BYU, wasn't he? And I remember he was doing that. Was it like a State Farm commercial or something with the guy that's the linebacker for the 49ers, Warner? Yes. Yeah. And so he's getting these big deals off the field as well. I mean, dude's got to clean up. He's got to get some good advice from his family, from his agent. But you just always got to remember, these guys are still young. He's still in his early to mid-20s and suddenly has all this cash. And, I probably had a few too many beers when I was in my early 20s, too. It's bizarre. I mean, the three things he's been involved in is kind of bizarre in just the last 3 months. But that's why Sean McVay needs to bring him in and sit down and talk about responsibilities. Well, not just McVay. Everybody needs to. Exactly. Okay. All things NFL. Feel free to jump on board. If you have an opinion, Fans Forum chat box for football fans, open for business. Hockey Hotline is open for business. Pay attention to tonight. It's a bloodbath. Anaheim Ducks, Toronto Maple Leafs. Renew of the rivalry. Both these teams obviously going in opposite directions. The Ducks are in first place in the Pacific Division. The Maple Leafs have been trying to fight their way out of last place. It's been such a substandard season. Blood game, possibly. A couple weeks ago, Ducks played in Toronto. Austin Matthews went down with a very bad knee injury on a really vicious knee check by Radko Gudas, the tough guy defenseman. Was it isolated? No, because Gudas had already been suspended 6 times in the course of his career for late hits, cheap hits, etc.
And I finally found a picture from an angle that showed Gudas leaning to his left, putting his left knee out intentionally to go knee on knee to take out Matthews on this rush to the net. And Matthews suffered a very bad knee injury. It's going to be at least 4 months of rehab. Significant. Gudas got a 6-game or 5-game suspension. However, they play tonight, and there's been burning aftermath of questions about A, the cheap shot hit that Gudas put on Matthews, B, the leniency that the NHL league office gave to the Ducks defenseman considering he's such a repeat offender, and C, not one Leaf player came to the defense of Matthews and jumped third man in to go after Gudas. Not one. This is a question about, quote, the code. So it's going to be very interesting tonight when the Maple Leafs play the Ducks in Anaheim as to whether there's going to be a response. And then what is the league going to do if Maple Leaf players, in essence, put a bounty on Gudas' head for what he did to their 60-goal scoring star? It's a really ugly situation. So we'll keep an eye on that story. Because as much as you hate to say it, there is retribution in the NHL. There is a code of conduct, especially when it's a dirty play from a repeat offender. So keep an eye on that. The other story, the Las Vegas Golden Knights, they fired their coach, Bruce Cassidy. His record is 178, 99, and 43. They fired him with 8 games to go in the season. Vegas supposed to be one of the top teams in the West, but not a top team in the West, despite all the roster changes, the addition of Mitch Marner. They've had goaltending problems, had injury problems. Teams just not responded to Cassidy. They just hired John Tortorella, former Stanley Cup winner down in Tampa Bay. Tortorella's coached all over the NHL, has had success, but always wears out his welcome and always has the door open and told to leave. But he's been brought into Las Vegas to try to rally the Knights for postseason play. So that's kind of a bit of a stunner. Cassidy had done a really good job and was really well liked, but this was kind of an off season for Las Vegas. So, John, you want to talk about the code of conduct in the NHL, right or wrong? You want to talk about Vegas? Go ahead.
It's just weird firing a coach, like you say, 8 games left in the season. I mean, because usually a new coach comes and establishes a new culture.
New system, too.
Yeah, so this guy's got to now kind of roll in and not do anything radical, just sort of find a way to make some incremental improvement to get, the Golden Knights, deeper into the playoffs. But he can't monkey with it too much, right?
Well, you can't put a new system in with 8 games left in the season. There's not enough practice time.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he'll prioritize different players in different situations. Different lines. Yeah, that could make sense. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be fun watching this Ducks Maple Leafs game. Well, I got to tune in on that one.
You believe in the code of conduct? Do you believe in retribution? That's old school hockey.
Well, we've debated that in the past about, have we evolved past having fights in hockey? Old-time hockey fans say, no way, you need fights to protect your guys and all this. But yeah, I mean, there's clearly a villain in this story, and if the players go after the villain, that's retribution, and it should be penalized. I mean, the league should handle the villain. The league should fine him, suspend him, terminate him if it's need be.
But repeat offender only got a 5-game suspension this time, and he badly injured the star.
Right. That's what I'm saying, is that the league needs more teeth in their rules for these repeat offenders, but you're still going to see dudes on the ice that are going to protect their guys and man up on Radko. So let's see what happens.
I was shocked. Nobody wearing Maple Leaf colors jumped third man in to respond the instant it happened. But we knew there was another game to be played. I'm going to send you the picture of the Gudas hit on Austin Matthews, which really shows the angle that he led with his knee. It was a terrible hit. Hockey fans, Hockey Hotline is open for business. I guess this might ignite a few fans that are joining us from the old Canada Network about retribution, code of conduct, because that's their game. They invented it, so I'll be intrigued to see what they've got to say. Last topic on the table. This involves hot headlines here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah, the high-speed SportsWire. Tiger Woods is in trouble again.
Yeah, let's just talk about this. Tiger Woods on Friday arrested. DUI, driving under the influence, not of alcohol, because he passed the breathalyzer test, but he refused to do the urination test, which led to the arrest immediately. Driving under the influence of painkillers, sedatives, medications. Not an isolated incident. That's the big issue. I don't know if you've seen the headshot picture of Tiger Woods when he was arrested.
Yeah, the mugshot?
The mugshot?
Yeah, I did.
Here's the crazy part. Here's the danger part. Here's the sad part. This was at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. He was buzzed, could not talk, was unstable, and he was driving at a high rate of speed at 2 o'clock in the afternoon in Jupiter, Florida. And this is not an isolated incident. The last time he was in the news for an accident, he flipped his SUV on Friday, was the multiple rollover in Los Angeles that destroyed his vehicle that he had to be pried out of, that led to the catastrophic broken leg, shattered ankle, near amputation of his leg. And the disgraceful part was not only the accident, the fact it was covered up by the police.
Yeah.
There was never blood testing. There was never the legality of breathalyzer. They covered it up and they sealed the information. How is that humanly possible? It's called celebrity arrest.
Yeah.
So that was that. 2017, he had 4 different drugs in his system. He was at a stoplight, fell asleep, engine running, car in gear. 4 different drugs in his system. Never got charged. Supposedly went into a drug rehab program at that point in time. And then, of course, prior to that was the night in which he wrecked his SUV, drunk, after his then-wife threw him out of the house after she had all this information about his infidelity. So, where are we with Tiger Woods? Beloved, greatest modern-day golfer of all time. 15-time Grand Slam winner. Problem I have is he's surrounded by a lot of really special, intelligent, successful business people. To me, they're all enablers. There's not one person who's called Tiger on what he's doing with his personal life. Not one has called him out. Well, guys now on the PGA Network are. They're starting to criticize this guy about his responsibility to himself and his family. So I got a problem with all his rich friends who are his enablers of how he lives. The other thing is, I don't want to hear any more press conferences with Tiger Woods. His great career made the sports in the rearview mirror. I don't want any press conferences about my comeback. I don't want any press conferences about the next group of golf courses I'm going to design, or the new group of golf shirts I've designed, or what I'm doing with the cars that or my sponsors. Next press conference I want him to talk about is his addiction. He needs to spend more time not on trying to come back and be the golfer he used to be. He needs to spend more time on his addictions. And he's got addictions, because this is the 4th or 5th known situation where he could have killed himself or killed somebody else. And by the grace of God, it hasn't happened yet. So Tiger's not what Tiger used to be. Not as a player, and obviously not as a person. Agree or disagree? Tell me what you think. Fans Forum chat box is open. Second guy there, Mauricio Pochettino. Wow. Team USA Soccer had won 5 matches in a row, was really rolling, looked as if their roster came together. First half of the game against Belgium, they dominated. Had a 1-0 lead on a Weston McKennie goal. Christian Pulisic had 2 close-in chances, just could not get the shot off. It could have been 3-0 just like that at halftime. And then instead, they caved in. Belgium scored 43rd, 52nd, 59 minute, and then added 2 more goals late, and it was terrible. It became a 5-2 blowout. And Matt Turner, the keeper, was kind of left naked. And at the end of the day, the defense around the box just absolutely faltered badly and left that goalkeeper by himself. He had no way to make saves on unbelievable blasts from close in. They got overwhelmed over the final 69 minutes. Now they play Portugal tomorrow. Maybe there'll have to be some lineup changes at fullback and at the back end to help the goaltender. But it was a shocker how the roof caved in at the hands of Belgium. And the third one, is your guy Max Verstappen, and his world is unraveling in Formula One. So he doesn't qualify worth a lick over in Japan. Japanese Grand Prix, he finishes 11th. Car is just a disaster. They have all kinds of pit problems, and he just continues to rage. And his whole post-race press conference is, I'm thinking about quitting F1. So he met with Formula One officials this past week and said these are the items that are not right with the 2026 F1 cars. Now, other teams have said, we've solved it. The problem is not the car. The problem is your team bull issue, not us and not the sport. Max Verstappen asked Formula One, because they have a 5-week hiatus now on their schedule because they had to cancel the Bahrain Grand Prix and the Grand Prix of Saudi Arabia because of what your president is doing.
Yeah.
So
a lot going on over there.
Yeah. So they have a 5-week window. That Verstappen asked FIA, the governing body, which designed these cars, without owners' input, drivers' input, design these cars. He said, take a weekend in this 5-week hiatus. Let us all go to a centralized track. Let's try some new things that you can lay out to change the operation of the car and give us 3 days of testing since we have a 5-week layoff in the schedule. FIA has not approved his request, but he's talking about, I'm going to quit. And everybody else in Formula One says, you don't want to race F1? Leave. Go do something else. Just amazing. So those are other late-breaking stories. You start with Tiger, go to Pochettino, and talk about Mad Max.
You know, the Tiger Woods story and the Max Verstappen story, there's a common thread there where these guys are both champions and they're used to being number one in everything they do. They're used to being invincible. And then when things don't go their way, they don't respond very well. You know, and I mean, you can see what's happened with Tiger and those injuries that led to the drug addiction and has led to a lot of these, driving incidents and accidents and further medical problems, almost amputated the leg and everything else. And then Verstappen getting all whiny, I want to quit F1, I want to do this, I want to do that.
Now he's challenged them. He's kind of mandated publicly because what he says becomes instant news globally because he has been the superstar.
Yeah, and then meanwhile, like Lewis Hamilton has been complaining all the time, and it's just all these prima donnas running around and either they're whining about it or they're having trouble coping with it. And there's a few of them that are these superb athletes that can handle it. And that ain't easy to do it. So all these guys are champions. It's just a tough road to hoe. But Tiger Woods, I mean, I thought he was legitimately on track for like a comeback, right? I mean, he was looking, they said, pretty good.
Yeah, but looking and being able to play 18 holes or being able to go 4 days in a row, that's a whole different set of circumstances. He hasn't proven he could do that.
Well, and by the way, just have a driver, just do the right thing. Be smart. I mean, granted, you're on drugs and you're not making good decisions, but a simple thing would be just don't drive, just hire a guy and have him drive you everywhere you need to go.
Well, the last accident that was near catastrophic was at 7:30 in the morning, and he was flying when he double flipped, got trapped, and shattered his leg.
Yeah.
7:30 in the morning, he's buzzed. This one was at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and he's buzzed, and he's driving.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Big time.
So the right thing for him to do is just have a driver. I mean, to me, that's one that you could do that and still kind of save face. Because it seems kind of like something that the elite people do. They have a driver. But maybe this just goes to show you that he thinks he's invincible, that he's Superman, and he's got, a steel-plated chest that he can't be bulleted.
He's got a massive problem. He needs a driver to drive him to a rehab center.
Yeah, completely agreed. Yeah.
And be honest. And his enablers need to come public.
I was laughing about that because you're always like trying to blame the union, blame someone else. Here we're talking about blaming the organization, who's the posse, who's the reason that's giving this guy bad advice, and that is often a legitimate criticism. But again, I think sometimes these guys are they're sort of untouchables, right? No one has the gravitas to be able to get in their face or have some sort of what do they call those meetings where everyone shows up and tells you have an alcohol problem?
It's called intervention.
Intervention. Yeah. So it's like you got to have some major cojones to have an intervention with someone like a Tiger Woods,
What are your thoughts about Team USA soccer? Because that was as good as it could be in the first half, and whoa, did the roof cave in the second half. How's Pochettino going to deal with this?
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, with all the basketball and opening baseball, I miss this. And so I was happy to get the update in the best 15. I think the USA loss was a 5-2, right? Mm-hmm. So did they have the top players playing?
Yes.
They did. Okay, so Pulisic was there. And
they had goal-scoring opportunities in the first half. Could have been 3-0. And then it changed. And then, holy cow, it's like a landslide.
But Belgium will make it into the brackets almost every year. They usually go pretty deep. They have Kevin De Bruyne, I know, who's really good. Right. So, that's not – maybe that's a game you kind of hope maybe that they sort of, have it. They have like a tie. But in the end, this is just an exhibition, right? I mean, it's just a friendly. It's a warm-up. And then we're going to get into the World Cup games. When will those begin?
Well, they have another friendly tomorrow night against Portugal. That'll be their final friendly before we get into full training for the World Cup in June, July.
June, July. Okay. Yeah, no, it just seems to me that Pochettino has turned this thing around. Yep. This might just be a one-off.
Okay.
They might have been experimenting with things.
By the way, Pochettino's name has surfaced for the head coaching director job at Tottenham Hotspur in the English Premier League. Wow. They want to talk to him. He doesn't want to broach the subject right yet. Hate to see him leave because I think he's done a good job unifying and bringing together these different layers of players with Team USA. We'll see where that story goes. That's it. Those are the topics on the table. You got an opinion on Tiger Woods? Fans Forum chat box is open to you. We invite you to participate now in the podcast. Podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers. Lots of locations to serve you in San Diego. You got projects, they've got materials. You want ideas, they can be your best friend. And if you're a do-it-yourselfer, you check out the tool displays at any of the DIXIELINE stores. Go to DIXIELINE.com to get a sneak preview. John, we got a lot of people locked and loaded. We got an hour to give them an opportunity to tell us what they think.
Okay. Here's a comment here from Music to My Ears. And again, you give us a few bucks, you go to the top of the list. Thank you. But he says the Giants scoring one run is the greatest gift to a Dodger fan.
Oh, Dodger fans just spraying criticism at everybody. Giant fan, they're not happy with this new manager. Came out of the collegiate ranks. I don't know if I'd say Buster Posey has taken a massive gamble as the president of the Giants to bring Tony Vitiello in from the University of Tennessee, but nobody's ever done this. Although more teams are going to the college ranks to hire coaches, pitching coaches, etc. But this is really different, and he's really different. And at this point, he's no Bruce Bochy. So it's really interesting, the reaction of Giant fans in the Bay Area. And I don't know if they got a bunch of guys that aren't hitting. I mean, I looked at that batting order when we did our preview last week. I said, they got a bunch of swingers here, but nobody hit in the spring. Devers has not hit since he got there in the trade from Boston. Adames is not hitting. He had a slow start last year and then got hot the back half. Giants are just not the team we expected them to be.
No, I mean, they got rolled by the Yankees right out of the gate. Now they come to Petco, so we'll see how it goes. But you were always talking about that infield, with Chapman and Adames, Luis Arraez, and Devers. So and then you've got the kid from Korea in the outfield. So there's a lot of talent there. I agree with you. But yeah, I think it's actually kind of cool that Buster Posey reached out and got like one of the best, the best really, college baseball coaches out there. Because who else are you going to hire? I mean, there's just a lot of these, there's a lot of retreads. You don't want to hire a retread out there. Why not see if you can legitimately change the culture, change the philosophy? I mean, there could be some innovative things to bring to the game.
So can I take that statement as if you won't have any bad segments this summer if the Giants season goes in the tank? We won't have any whining and crying.
Yeah, the Giants, I think they're going to be middle of the pack this year. I'd love to see them do well. But I'm on board with this. I mean, I really am with Vitiello kind of coming in here and managing the team. I think there's potential upside in this. And if it doesn't work out, just go get another manager and just keep moving on. I mean, clearly Melvin wasn't the answer for the Giants. They kind of learned what Padre fans learned about Bob Melvin. So, but yeah, the Dodger rivalry with the Giants, that's always burning.
Okay, thank you for joining us.
Okay, let's go down the list here. Let's go to Teamer. Angels should have taken 3 out of 4 versus the Astros, but they gave away the last 2 games with multiple terrible errors and terrible bullpen.
Well, holes in the pitching staff, and then Kochanowicz he got smoked. His first start. I mean, they had 7 base runners in 2+ innings. You're not going to be in a game when you're starting pitchers allowing that. And he had such a good spring, so I was a little taken back that it was so rocky for him. It's early. I understand it's early. And obviously, their general manager is of the opinion, we got pitchers coming. Well, we have to go through another 90-loss season. Not everybody agreed with my statements of the 1-loss records of the Padres, Dodgers, and Angels last week. Yes, I think I took a lot of heat on social media. Because they did say the Dodgers are going to win 102 and the Padres are not going to win 90. And I said the Angels are going to lose 90+ again. So it's early in the season. But Angels start the season with inherent problems to their roster, their batting order, and their pitching staff. And they're not getting any – there's no help on the way immediately, I don't think.
Yeah, but, things like errors you can clean up. Okay? Bullpen, I don't know. I mean, that's going to be touch and go. But, the bats were working, so – you just want to find some ray of hope, coming out of Anaheim that you can kind of grab a hold of and see this franchise taking a big step forward.
Well, we'll see what happens. They open a series on the road in Houston. Now they go to Chicago and to play the Cubs at Wrigleyville, and then they finally come home. And I don't know what the atmosphere is going to be like at home at Angel Stadium. I swear to you, these fans are going to show up with boards and signs and singing, Artie, sell the team.
Yeah.
I think that's going to happen. We'll see where it goes. Thanks for being with us, Teamer.
Okay, and here, there's a lot of sports media comments in the chat. This is from Sports Fan. Hey, Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, someone in the chat room talk about how to watching all of the MLB games on Apple Plus. That is MLB Big Inning, hosted by Matt Yaloff and Craig Cassert.
Well, I'll divert to him because he's the Apple TV addict.
But I haven't watched MLB Big Inning on Apple TV.
Not yet, but we got plenty of weeks of baseball to watch some of it. So yeah, we'll pay attention to that. I've been spending more time looking at Padre baseball, and I did a media critique of what I thought their telecast should be versus what it was, at least at the start of the season. So we'll see if the Padre TV telecast evolves into something a little bit more, a little bit different.
Well, here's another spin on this from Sports Fan. He says also, on ESPN having MLB games, ESPN TV took out the old idea of easy or free daily games. It's basically reduced or gone. And it's on ESPN Unlimited to the ESPN app. ESPN Unlimited has one game every day. So, the whole landscape of watching a game is different.
Show me the money.
Yeah.
Everything is subscribe to my streaming package, which I think that's a deterrent. I would think you'd want to make the games, which are so popular right now, be available to the most people. Instead, you've scattered. New York Post reporter did an investigative piece last Friday, I think it was. He priced out, if you want to watch every Yankee game on TV, it'd be $1,010. Because there's 7 different platforms you'd have to subscribe to watch every game.
Right. But like on some of them, it's only one game.
Right.
Yeah. But point taken.
Show me the money.
Show me the money.
I don't necessarily agree that that's good for the spreading of baseball and the good stories that we've experienced in baseball and the excitement and what all the games have become and the pennant races and postseason. But that's the way the sport is going. Check back with me during the course of the NFL season when you find out the games are here, there, and everywhere.
Well, not only is it, we're seeing games on different streaming services, but it was weird this weekend. There were a lot of, teams that didn't play on Sunday, It was just that was an odd quirk. I agree with you. But it doesn't have to do with the fact that if the opening day ceremonies were rained out, then they can move some things around, or is that the purpose of it?
I don't know why we had vacancies on the Sunday schedule. That should never be. That Sunday and Saturday is usually a big draw.
John Schaefer, the play-by-play guy for the Aztecs, he was saying, no baseball on Sundays. It should be illegal.
Cancel the Monday games. Go back. But again, that'll lead to the argument of let's go from 162 back to 154 where everybody gets Monday off. Players would love it.
Oh, of course they would.
So that's where we are. Okay,
we'll keep on going here. And we'll hear more comments on sports media from Richard. Hey, saw that what does he have there? Netflix broadcast last week. God awful.
Oh. I didn't see it. I heard all about it. So he was talking about the Yankee Giant, the first presentation game that had all kinds of technical flaws to it.
Yeah.
Vasgersian did a good job, I was told. I was told the pregame show wasn't very good. Barry Bonds was really freaking standoffish. He won't get invited back. But, first time doing it, there were some technical flaws. I guess you can iron that out, but you can't iron out bad content.
No, I mean, they're learning. There was a couple of times that they came in too late out of a commercial.
They missed first pitches, and they missed a couple of appeals.
Yeah, exactly. So they got to work the bugs out. But it was interesting is when Netflix rolled into San Francisco, they also took over like a bar and branded it as Netflix, and like it was a Netflix club. And, so for them, this is such a big, splashy promotion for the network to try to attract subscribers.
But you got to follow it up by putting a good product on the TV.
Right. Well, at least they signed up good play-by-play guy in Vasgersian.
Exactly.
But yeah, for a lot of these other dudes in the truck out there pushing buttons on when to cut in and cut out, they were like, oh my God, it
doesn't work.
It's not working. Yeah, exactly. So they're probably having trouble.
Been there, done that.
Oh yeah, you would know. Okay, all right. Let's go down here to Casey. Hey, good afternoon, guys. Hacksaw with Bruce Cassidy getting let go by the Vegas Golden Knights. Do you think the Kings consider him to be their next head coach? And do you think Bruce takes the job?
Bruce would probably wind up a job if there are a bunch of heads that are chopped off at the end of the season into the off season. I don't know what the Kings are going to do. I mean, this is an interim situation they have right now, but the roster is almost borderline transition. They have so much age, and obviously with Kopitar going away now to retire at the end of the season, the farewell tour has been really fun to see how much respect Hansi Kopitar has gained during the course of a great career with the Kings. So there are going to be changes on this roster. Maybe they'll make a change at coach. I think Cassidy does get a job, but I guess it's a little too early to say what the Kings are going to do, although there's only 2 weeks to go in the season, and the Kings' playoff hopes are really in deep, deep trouble.
I'm noticing the trend in the AHL is there's retread coaches, like coaches that just have a lot of stops around the league.
Yeah, and some guys get pulled out of the American League because they've done very well in the American League and don't succeed in the NHL, and they have to go too.
Do they ever bring up college coaches to be a head coach in the NHL?
Boy, that's a good question. Well, Herb Brooks, greatest of all time in NCAA history, went to the Rangers, went to the Penguins, and became the architect of Team USA in 1980. So Herb Brooks is probably one of the few and far between that came out of the collegiate ranks.
Interesting.
Yep.
All right. There's a lot going on there, coaching carousel. Hey, let's go to Mike. Hey, gents, how do you feel about the ABS system is working out so far? I refuse to pay for cable, so I can't actually watch the games. I just listen on the radio and monitor scores. Haven't seen it in action yet.
Well, if you watch some of the weekend games on the network, you'll probably be able to see it in action. Part of me says, get the call right. I was really surprised at the start of the season. The Cincinnati Red Sox game is really the sneak preview, but they were doing this in the second and third inning, and I said, I thought they were going to. You always want to hold your challenges till late in the game at the most important time of the game, and Eugenio Suarez does it twice on consecutive pitches, and they overrule the home plate umpire twice on consecutive pitches, 5 times in 3 innings. So I guess it's good. I still think you need to be conservative as to when you're going to use it, because you're going to probably need it in a clutch situation when there's second and third or the bases loaded. You don't want to have a questionable pitch that you don't have the ability to replay on. So, but I was stunned early on that guys were doing it so early in games.
Yeah, I think it's great. And all about this is great. There's been some players that had like a 3-2 count, and the umpire calls strike 3, and the batter's like appealing it, and then already taking off his protective gear and jogging up to first base because he knows it's going to be ball 4. And it turns out it really was ball 4, But there's a little one-upsmanship going on with umpires. People are going to get bruised egos here. So this dynamic is going to be interesting. But I just love the fact that, like you say, we're getting it right. And number 2 is that the response technically has been just perfect.
Dazzling.
Yeah, I mean, it's not interrupting the flow of the game.
Within 15 seconds, it's right there.
Yeah, and so less than that.
Yep.
And then as fans, it's like another moment where you sort of hold your breath and have a little bit of excitement. So the way they're implementing it, the way the fans are reacting, the way the players are reacting, even the way the umpires are reacting, it's justice.
The umpire's going to get gun shy. Umpires, they got bruised egos to begin with. They have a very, very tough job. And for what happened to C.B. Bucknor, holy cow. You talk about his credibility going down the sewer on the first weekend of the season. The whole world saw what happened in the Red Sox-Reds game.
We've been seeing it happen for decades, Lee, and now they're finally being held accountable.
Yep.
Now, there is one school of thought, which I'm a fan of, is that what if we went to ABS on every single pitch? And then it's right all the time because the answer comes with the video replay right away. So no disruption in the flow of the game. But then people were saying that if you did that, you could erode the whole umpiring community all the way down to Little League because there wouldn't be the opportunity to aspire to play in the and the Major League Baseball. And certainly Little League isn't going to implement ABS. So I don't know. Well, it's great that technology is changing the sport, in my opinion, for the better.
Well, at the end of the day, get the call right. At the end of the day, do your job better. And if we have to thin the herd of the C.B. Bucknors of the world, so be it, because they're the Angel Hernandezes of this year. Get them out of there if they're that poor. And based on what we saw in the Red Sox-Reds game, he was pitiful.
Yeah, he was.
So if his ego got bruised and he got embarrassed, tough crap. You're not qualified to be calling balls and strikes.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a lot of good umpires. So go get the next guy in line, give him the window. That's the way I do it.
And then he can learn from that. And the umpire's got to make adjustments to the way he calls the game.
I mean, he was so wildly inconsistent.
Did you ever notice that, like, when we were kids playing ball, the strike zone was from the letters to the knees?
Well, it's changed because of the 6'7" guy.
But still, when they optimize, at least on television, the box, it's really from the belt to the knees. So if you've got like a strike that's kind of over the middle of your belly, that's high, when it still really should be a strike, right? So it's weird how. I remember a long time ago, they always said that the National American League umps had different strike zones. We hear cases about Korea, the strike zone is narrower but taller. I don't understand why this isn't objective, and it should be the same. It should be consistent, and the technology is going to improve it.
The add-on intangible is these pitchers throw such wicked stuff with movement. That ball is in the zone and out of the zone so damn quick.
Yeah.
That impacts, I think, ABS. And the other thing, what if you got a guy who throws a knuckleball and that ball's doing this? How does ABS handle the knuckleball?
Well, the ABS handles all of that better than humans do.
Yeah.
The wicked stuff that just sort of nicks a corner of the three-dimensional strike zone, or if it's the knuckleball dishing and dashing on its way down. Yeah, the technology is better. It's like the driverless cars, like Waymo.
I'll pass on that one.
Yeah, no, but but seriously, the technology is getting to the point now where it's better than the human eye.
Okay.
And I think it's good.
We move on. Good question about the ABS, Mike. Thanks for being with us.
Okay, let's go to Carlos. Hey, gents, here on vacation from Costa Rica. How about those Dodgers and Lakers both looking good? Go Lady UCLA Bruins in Final Four.
Yeah, Bruins get to the Final Four, but that over there, that's a UConn Lady Huskies. Over there, that's 38-0 UConn Lady Huskies. So I don't know if Lauren Betts and the Lady Bruins are going to be able to hold up against what's over there. Just in terms of the Dodgers, the Dodgers are very good. I'm going to be enthralled to see which Roki Sasaki shows up tonight against Cleveland. That'll be a topic of conversation, I'm sure, by Thursday. And the Lakers, man, they've come together. They're really playing role. They've subverted egos. They've changed, I think, some of their priorities of some of their players. And we'll just see if they can continue to play really, really well. Luka Doncic got hit with another technical, so now he gets a one-game suspension. But the Lakers right now are in a stronghold at third place in the Western Conference. And the one difference is once we get to the playoffs, you're going to play people with really good defenses. So does the Laker offensive explosion come down a couple notches? And can the Lakers, playing great offenses, continue to play at the upper level of defense that they've shown recently? That makes sense?
It does, yeah. I'm just thinking about Carlos here. I mean, First of all, cocky L.A. fan, got all of his teams winning, and meanwhile he's on
vacay in Costa Rica.
In Costa Rica. I mean, and by the way, watching Hacksaw while you're in Costa Rica rather than going out and having a cerveza.
So he's come close to beating the guy in Brazil who watches us all the time.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Brazil Joe.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Costa Rica, by the way, fabulous place. I mean, just really wonderful. There are volcanoes.
Global traveler.
And well, same with you. You've been around, but and then the hot springs that are near the volcanoes, and then a lot of surf beaches and kind of like, what do they call those? Like groves, where you can kind of take a boat into the marina area. So there's just a lot of really neat things in it.
So you forewarning us that one week during the summer you will be doing this remote. You'll be in Costa Rica, and I'll be at my cottage in the Adirondacks. We'll try to make it work.
Well, the cool thing was when I remember I was there, and this was sports related, is that there was I think it was some sort of a CONCACAF tournament going on at the time, and we were in some little bar restaurant, and everybody was watching television, and it was Costa Rica against some other Central American nation, but everybody was into it, and you love seeing that way that sports brings people together.
That is their sport, period, exclamation point.
Exactly.
Buy me another cerveza.
Okay, let's go here to Derek, talk some Ducks hockey. Hey, Radko Gudas is not a very nice person on the ice, but I think he has more huevos than any Leafs player by making sure he plays tonight to give them a shot at him.
I guess the burning question is, do we need to have retribution? Should have occurred when Austin Matthews got taken out. I'm going to send John the picture. I found the picture this morning of the exact angle, and I'll send it to you. You'll be kind of aghast. Maybe we'll use the picture Thursday. But that's 2 weeks removed, and taking Gudas out now in retribution, does it serve any purpose? Should not have the code of conduct been invoked the minute Austin Matthews went down with that bad knee injury. Doing it 2 weeks later, doesn't it lose something? And what are you going to do? The world's going to be looking out for retribution. So now what are you going to do?
Yeah. I mean, there's like so many different ways to see this.
Yes.
Is he going to get hit? Is it going to be, an ugly hit that's cloaked? Is it going to be an accidental hit that looks a lot worse than it really was intended to be? There's a lot of ways this can play out. But in my opinion, the league needs to be just super aggressive on this sort of thing. Put teeth in their rules, and for multiple offenders, the suspension should be heavy.
Should have been heavier. Should have gotten more than 5 games since this is his 7th episode. And I like the player. The guy's a stand-up man. I like the Ducks. I like what they've done. But he keeps going over the line, and that's kind of the way he plays. So there has to be an accountability there. But retribution tonight, I don't think it serves a real purpose. So,
but there's a code.
Yeah. So I will ask. We have a lot of Canadians on the O Canada Network in Western Canada that are part of what we do. You jump on board. Code of conduct. Should there be retribution in the Austin Matthews injury story with the Maple Leafs and the Ducks? You still got time. Jump on board.
Okay, let's go back to our friend Music to My Ears. Again, thank you for the donation. Hey, stop promoting MLB on ESPN. They talk too much. Too many interviews. It's so distracting to the fans and players.
Well, I do think everybody tries to do something different. Is it good content when they do it, a.k.a. the interviews, live micing a player? I don't like any of that. Somebody's got to find the right mix of what should be baseball versus non-baseball during the course of your telecast. But there's so many different options out there now, because if you want to subscribe to different streaming, you'll get different types of coverage and takes on your teams.
Yeah. I appreciate the experimentation, and sometimes the interviews of the player on the field can be very entertaining. Other times the player is not really into it, and the player is trying to focus on the game as he should. But why did he agree to do the interview if they're not really into it?
Yep.
And especially like with infielders, because they've really got to be focused.
Yep.
Yeah, but I'm all good with the the interviews. Like on ESPN, they were interviewing the manager like in between innings. That's okay, but having the longer form interview with a pitcher that pitched the night before in the dugout, because that's a cool vibe. Especially if
the content is good. But
like with Snell and Don and Mudd, that works.
Yeah, sometimes that was good. Sometimes is why are we doing this again and again and again.
Well, you want to get all the other, the play-by-play crew involved in a lot of that.
So many good storylines to talk about in baseball.
Yeah.
Use your people and devote between innings or devote on-camera stuff while the game's going on to talk about a significant issue.
Yeah, a lot of times they'll talk about the strategy in the game, like when the outfielder will pull out his little cheat sheet on this positioning, and he'll talk about that without giving up any trade secrets,
But that's okay.
That's good stuff.
Right.
But I remember watching one of these interviews, and they were asking the player, I can't remember who it was, but it was like, what's your favorite breakfast cereal? And you're like, what the hell are you doing? I mean, sure, that's a fun question to ask, but not when the dude is like going to get hit with a line drive ball right at his face any moment.
If I'm producing the Padre game tonight, I'm taking Bob Scanlon, and he's going to be part of a discussion in the third inning. You studied the weekend games or the ABS situation. Give me your response. That's the kind of content you want that's got good knowledge based behind it rather than saying, what's your favorite cereal?
Yes, we love Scanlon.
Oh, I do. I have great regard for him. Very intellectual. But use your broadcast people and do it correctly with the good content. That's just me being me. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to apologize.
Hacksaw knows what he's talking about when it comes to broadcasting.
Thanks for being with us.
All right, let's go here to Bill. Hey, Manfred has made some great changes to the game, except the runner on second in extras. Boy, that sucks. If you don't accept length of extra inning baseball game, then watch another sport.
But it really adds drama. Because suddenly the whole game is very different in the top of the 10th and the bottom of the 10th or the 11th. So when I first thought, this is a gimmick and a gadget, I'm not sure I like it. But damn, it does add drama. Should we have it in postseason? It adds drama. It's reality. It was part of 162 games in the regular season. Should we have it in the playoffs?
I have no objection to that. I mean, I think this was a great improvement to the game because, like, if you it's weird when you have a really long extra inning game, but most of the time we can't stay up to watch the whole thing.
And most pitchers and staffs don't have 11 arms they can afford to burn in one game that goes 18 innings.
So it screws up your whole bullpen for like a week, and then you got all kinds of just goofy stuff that happen. I remember one time watching a game. And it was a Padre-Rocky game, and I fell asleep. I don't even know what inning it was. And I woke up the next morning, and I still had I think it was probably Channel 4 Padres at the time, and the game was still on. But I realized what it was is that the game had ended, then they had started the replay of the game, and by the time we were in like the 18th or the 20th inning, because I think this game went like 23 innings, I turned it on. It was like way late in the game, and I was like, this can't still be on, So in the end, having the runner at second, I like that. The complaint I have is don't call it a ghost runner, because there's a real runner on the base. Ghost runner is a whole different thing in made up kind of baseball game playing. But here it's a real runner, so they need to come up with another name. But there's a lot of strategy to it.
Funny story. When I was a kid growing up, one of the traditions in my house on Long Island, my dad cooked fried chicken, every Sunday. That's why I hated chicken. So they're yelling at me, chicken and dinner is ready. Turn the TV off. I was watching the Yankees-Detroit Tigers, and they had a pretty good rivalry. This had to go back 1960s.
This is Little Hacksaw.
That's right. So, okay, I'm coming to dinner. So I'll leave the TV on. So I go have dinner, and so I come back. Game's still going on. The game is still going on. Mm-hmm. Game is still going on. 22 innings.
20, I know.
22 innings. And the Tigers were running out all their starting pitchers, and they were all going 4 and 5 innings out of the bullpen. Game went 22 innings.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's when you watch those kind of games, it's like watching a train wreck.
Yeah.
You just get sucked into it, and you just want to see how long this whole thing's going to go. But it does drag. So I mean, I first saw this what we're calling a ghost runner. That's not really a ghost, but putting a runner at second base in extra innings. My daughter did that in softball tournaments, and they called it the international tiebreaker, and a lot of in softball, granted, the girls were, quite young, but they were always taught typically to bunt. The first batter would bunt, move that runner to third with one out.
There's so much strategy. How do you get that guy over?
Yeah. And then there'd be other things that they would do. If it was a really fast runner, they'd steal, but the focus was always to get the runner to third first, and then find a way to drive the runner in from third. But in Major League Baseball, they don't necessarily follow that adage. I mean, dudes are still hitting for the fence, right away. So it's an interesting strategic element added to the game, and I think it only enhances it It's just old, crusty, traditionalist people are the ones that have an objection to it.
Okay. All right. We'll see where it goes. I like it. He tends to like it, too. Thank you.
This is the Bill had two here, and this is the one I really meant to get in. Let's get this one in from Bill. A broken heart for Tiger Lee. At one time, I really thought he would break Jack's record. Sports takes a backseat to human suffering. Hope he gets the help he needs.
He needs help, but he has to admit. I swear to you, he's in denial. He's in total denial because he keeps doing this and he keeps acting this. And sometimes rehab does not work, and you have to go back in a second time or a third time. At the end of the day, though, this is a tragedy waiting for to happen unless he addresses it. I mean, I think the thing that stuns me is he was so stoned at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. He was speeding in a vehicle stoned at 2. What goes into that type of decision-making? Just like the last accident, I mean, he was so wiped out at 7:30 in the morning and he could have killed himself. And he obviously shattered his leg that nearly led to amputation. So there needs to be an intervention from his inner sanctum, inner circle, because he obviously can't kick this. To me, it's sad. Yeah, I mean, it's a waste of human life. You got to read my one man's opinion column. I started to write about it last night, and the more I wrote, the more intense I got about the topic. I wrote a lot of stuff, a lot of opinions. So read my one man's opinion column. You can tell me I'm right or I'm wrong. I'm hitting the mark on the nose, or I'm full of crap and I'm cruel. Go ahead, that's fine with me. But read the one man's opinion column on my website today, because that's some pretty strong stuff. Nobody else wrote about it in any of the newspapers. I did.
Who's the lady in his life right now?
He's got trophy women everywhere.
But there was a woman that was with him, I think, was it last year or the year before last? And she was kind of a hot pants, just kind of showing up like a party girl.
Yeah. He was with Lindsey Vonn, too, and that wound up in a lawsuit.
Well, yeah. But, you just need people in your life that are going to look after you. And so here he is, if he's alone, and, he's got mental, depression or a number of other issues. He's upset about, his rehab, and maybe it's not coming along fast enough. And you just get into a rage, You get in a car and...
Pain, back pain. Those of you who join us on Fans Forum, you ever had it? I've had it and suffered with it. Back pain is so debilitating because it comes and goes, and you can't control it. Doesn't matter, unless, even when you do surgery, it does not solve the problem. So I can identify with what's happening, but I can also identify when you got this addiction and you just keep drifting back to it. That's a terrible weakness, and this ends badly.
Yeah.
So well, how did I finish my column today? Something to the effect, the way he's acting, he's going to triple bogey his life. Golf term.
Yeah.
So
hey, just think of how history books are just going to reflect on Tiger Woods, because the highs and the lows have been so extraordinary.
Well, it won't be bad unless he dies. Then it'll be a terrible Tiger tragedy. But the history book will write about the greatness and his impact on the sport and the business of the sport and all that. And this will be an afterthought unless he tragically dies. Then it'll become a conversation point.
Let's hope we don't get to that.
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Read my column, my one man's opinion column. Whether you agree with it or disagree, it's one man's opinion. But I think I hit it right on the nose.
All right, let's keep moving. All right, let's go here to our friend Joe. He goes, hey, guys, heard my name mentioned. So, hey, should we cheer UConn after their last second win, or should we hate them for defeating the Aztecs 3 times in March Madness? Best wishes, Joe from Brazil.
Joe from Brazil, Dan Hurley's earned it. I mean, you look at the games they've played. I mean, they've had a rough road to hoe. This March Madness has just been spectacular, and what they've been able to accomplish has been pretty impressive, too. And that's a really good basketball team, and they beat a really good basketball team. I felt really bad for Duke, but I understood what was going on with the Duke player, what happened to Caden right at the end. I mean, Boozer had the ball and was double-teamed, and Boozer was probably correct that we're going to get hit with a backcourt violation if I can't find a way to get this ball across the midcourt line, because the clock was ticking, because they had already had 2 guys that already handled the ball on their own end of the floor, and they were still double-teamed and stopped. So he tried to throw it and it was deflected and it was picked up and then flipped to Mullins, and Mullins hit the 3-point heave. So I understood. But I guess you rolled the dice. I don't know how much time was left on the 1, 2, 3, get it across midcourt. Hold it and get hacked. Get hacked, hit the free throw. If you hold it and it becomes a turnover, then they got to score with 0.4 of a second left.
Yeah.
And
it was clearly chaos the way they inbounded the ball. And the first inbound pass was sort of kind of close to the corner. And you're like, uh-oh. You know, so the way that whole thing broke down, I mean, it's going to go down as one of the greatest shots. I mean, you know, how would you rank that shot against San Diego State Lamont Butler? You know, in terms of
equally important.
Yeah, I mean,
no doubt about it. Was that shot more important than Christian Laettner's Duke University shot years ago? Remember that one?
The Christian Laettner one, I think, was a Sweet 16 matchup. This one was a Elite 8 matchup.
Yep.
And then the Lamont Butler one was a Final Four matchup to get into the championship game.
Yep.
So Lamont Butler was the more important one. But you love all this in March Madness. This is great. And by the way, I'm with Joe here. We should hate UConn because I'm still angry with Kemba Walker. Do you remember that in 2011? And it was they were in the Sweet 16. That was the Kawhi Leonard, Billy White team. And Kemba Walker walked past Jamal Franklin, and there was just like a little bit of a bump, you know, like tough guy bump. And Kemba Walker flopped on the ground, and they called a technical foul, and the momentum shifted. And then that great Aztecs team in 2011 was out.
Yeah.
And it's damn UConn.
But at the end of the day, the 19-year-old kid's playing college basketball. So it's not the end of the world. If this is the worst thing that ever happens to Caden Boozer in his life, he's going to have himself a pretty good life.
Yeah,
but
he's going to be okay.
It'll be a tough thing. But the kid had to make the shot. And that was an unbelievable shot from, I don't know, maybe he got training from Caitlin Clark from the logo.
Yeah, really. That's exactly right.
So,
that's a good analogy.
Yeah, I can't wait for what's going to happen come Saturday, what's going to happen on Monday Night Championship, because it's been a phenomenal Final Four or Sweet 16 March Madness.
Okay, let's keep on going. A lot of Dodger comments in the social media. Let's start here with Ray Fonseca. Hey, Clase is serving his penalty. Ohtani got a hard pass and protection from Major League Baseball. Let's not pretend one is worth covering when you passively let the other skate.
Well, but you're indicting Ohtani. What evidence have you got except you think? Well, baseball got all the information. You think that Ohtani was part of a cover-up? I have a tough time dealing with that assertion. But at the end of the day, it is odd that Ohtani would not pay attention to the amount of money he makes and what becomes of that money. But if he's so laser-focused and all he does is prepare for games and study and rehab and all that, and then he has this relationship and he's getting married and a baby, that focuses his whole life. And maybe it's just the end result. John thought I was stupid when I said it. I'm not stupid. He makes so much money. He doesn't pay attention to where the money's going. And he trusted the wrong guy. And this guy's in prison in Pennsylvania now for 33 years or 14 years, whatever it is. So I just have a tough time thinking Ohtani was doing anything shady because that does not seem to be him nor the Japanese culture.
Yeah, but everyone's always trying to find dirt on Ohtani because he's so squeaky clean. You know, there was like that investment in Hawaii. There was something going on with that, right?
With real estate.
Yeah. So, Class A, severe suspension. I like that. But, yeah, you're right. Ohtani probably didn't bet on it. So, in the end, it does make you wonder, is there a double standard, when it comes to this sort of thing? I mean, we were just talking about how Tiger Woods, avoided a lot of the
celebrity arrest.
Yes. So, I mean, do you think that's the case here in Major League Baseball? Have you ever seen double standards as evidence?
Yeah, but why would baseball do anything that could potentially destroy their integrity? Why would they do anything, a.k.a. a cover-up?
Because, tinfoil hat here, because Shohei Ohtani is the goose that lays the golden eggs, and they don't want to do anything to make him look bad.
Nah, that's... You ever had a shoulder separation? You're going to separate your shoulder. That's a far reach.
That is a reach. I agree. I'm putting it out there. But it was interesting how it was kind of a quick boom, boom. Oh, he wasn't involved. But I will give Ohtani credit. At least he had hired people to manage those parts of his life. right? Because you need people like that. You need like an executive team for some of these big money athletes.
He's making so much money. It's just amazing.
And a lot of it's deferred, by the way. So, okay, let's keep on going. So let's get some more Dodger talk here. This is from Crayflo Peso. Hey, Dodgers will take advantage of the lockout to recover from the three-peat. Welcome, rest.
That's okay. But I'll tell you what, the most intriguing story to pay attention to down the road is if they change the financial structure of Major League Baseball, John, if it involves a luxury tax increase or a salary cap, how do you indoctrinate deferred payments? How do you indoctrinate the percentage of TV revenue that now has to go into a pot and share? This is not an easy snap of the fingers by saying, this is what the hard cap's going to be. And how do you manage franchises that have business entities around their stadiums that make a lot of money that goes into the operation of the team, baseball revenue versus non-baseball? How do you do that? This is such a complex formula that they would have to work through to get to a hard cap or different structure in the luxury share.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that these teams have more real estate interests going on around the stadium because it invites like a higher caliber of owner, to come in and manage the whole property. But it's kind of like what I was thinking with the NBA draft and like trying to avoid the tanking. It's almost like you just need a hard cap, and just keep that and having the floor and manage that in a tight window. And there's already models that work like the NFL. Just model it after that, make a couple of tweaks to satisfy a few groups of people in the negotiation. And just run with it, but encourage these billionaire owners to develop an entertainment district around the ballpark, and they can make a lot more bank there, not just from the team.
But it's really different. I mean, the NFL's got a fixed set of rules in terms of revenue sharing. All the TV contracts are equal. Baseball's TV contracts are all locally owned, and they're the monstrosity of what the Dodgers make versus what the Pirates make or the Padres make. It's unbelievable. So I think to put a new hard cap into baseball would be really, really impossible because everybody's got revenue streams from different places, different market sizes. It's going to be hard. I hate to think they'd shut the season down, but they'll have to find a way to make it come together for the good of the group, not the good of the Yankees or the Mets or the Dodgers.
Yeah, but they'll figure out something here. But
I hope so.
But let's just call him out. I mean, Crayflo here is not one of these arrogant Dodger fans.
That's okay.
It's okay. It's all good. All right, let's go down here and talk some hockey with Fantasy X Channel. Lee, you got the Fantasy X Channel here on your podcast. Hey, as an AHL fan, that's amazing. We all known this was coming and glad to make it official finally.
What is he making reference about?
The way the first-round draft picks in the NHL can play in the AHL rather than the junior league?
Yes. Well, it's been under discussion for 2 years, has to be negotiated. What they're trying to do is not waste a year of a young player's life. A 19-year-old who go back to the junior hockey, to the Ontario League, Quebec, or the Western League, if he's going to dominate there, does that really help him develop? Just to be a 19-year-old who's got all this great skill? Would he be better served to teach, get into a pro regimen, diet, workout, weights, playing for the AHL farm club? That's what they're talking about. But they don't want to take. They do not want to allow clubs to pull a whole bunch of their players out of junior hockey because that would wreck the junior leagues. Those leagues need to operate as business entities. And you need to leave your young stars in that league to play their age 18 or age 19 year. But so tough call. The Ducks have a 19-year-old first-round pick who scored 21 goals. Just absolutely amazing what Beckett Seneke has done. It would have done him no good to go back to the Ontario Hockey League where he played junior. But there was no rule in place that would have let him come here. Now, he's the exception. The Ducks kept him, and he got progressively better and better. Most 19-year-olds aren't ready to play at that level. So this 19-year-old rule to come here to play for the San Diego Gulls or the Ontario Reign, the Kings for Top Farm Club, it's good, but you can only send one player, and he has to be a first-round pick. So They're making progress, but they don't want to wreck junior hockey in the process of importing kids to play in the AHL.
This is always confusing to me because I understand the NBA has a G League, and I understand the NBA, well, there's international leagues. You know, the guys are a different caliber of player. I understand, obviously, baseball is the easy model with AAA, AA, single A ball. But this notion of a junior league in Canada and an AHL in the United States, but they're overlapping skill sets, right? One's not like an A ball and the other one's a AAA.
Well, junior hockey is like A. Junior hockey is for 16-year-olds to 19-year-olds or 20-year-olds. And you can have an undrafted 20-year-old come back and play one more year in junior hockey. Mm-hmm. But that's a business entity. That's the foundation of draft picks. They all come out of the Ontario League, Quebec League, and the Western League. But when you have the exceptional 19-year-old who gets drafted, it makes no sense to send him back there if he's going to dominate. Send him, right. Allow him to come start his pro career here.
Well, just go to, draft players, acquire talent, and just slot them where their skill set is appropriate.
Fits, but you can only do one 19-year-old per team in the American League.
No, I don't. That seems. I mean, at least they're doing one. In my opinion, the best one should rise to the top.
But you don't want the Ducks sending their top 3 draft picks down here because that would wreck junior hockey if everybody did that.
Yeah, but I would imagine that. Well, I mean, you think a 3rd-round pick is better than a junior league hockey guy?
3rd-round pick is probably a junior hockey guy that needs to develop more.
Yeah, so the 3rd-round guy, maybe could go either way, but the 1st-round guy definitely in the AHL and maybe the 2nd-round guy.
Yeah, but see, now you're opening the risk of taking all these great kids from junior hockey and you're wrecking the Victoria Cougars in British Columbia because you're allowing NHL kids who draft them from there to pull them all out.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not saying United States needs to be ahead of Canada either way, but you could make the USA AHL league like the AAA, and you can make the Canadian Hockey League like the AA. Mm-hmm. And then players just move up and down as appropriate. And so even in like a baseball in a AA, they're going to have a competitive league, and the teams travel and they have rivals. And, granted, they don't have the superstars, but they have the stars at that age. That stars at that level of development, and that can sustain a team in some of the outback there in northern Canada.
Okay. It's been discussed. They haven't wanted to go there. And, the added piece of this argument, and we'll talk more about this another time, is this year, for the first time, NCAA, they are allowing kids who played in the Canadian junior leagues to come play college hockey because they were viewed as pros because they are given a per diem weekly to live wherever they're going to play. And the NCAA stopped them from coming here until this year because of lawsuits. Lawsuits filed and said this kid should be eligible to go play at Penn State, to go play at Minnesota, University of Michigan, Northeastern.
Well, especially since the universities are paying players because there's NIL money in hockey too, I'm sure.
Exactly. So the whole landscape has really, really changed. But this is a long answer to this brief question. Getting a 19-year-old here, that helps the club. It helps the young player rather than going back to junior. Okay.
Padre baseball. I'll tell you what, this comment I'm about to say might sound crazy now, but this came in right before the season began from EJ's Pod. He says, this is a Padre comment, we're going to lose a lot of games with Randy Vasquez as a starting pitcher. We don't need the horrible starters from last season. He needs to be in AAA ball.
No. He's grown.
Yes.
I mean, you're looking at it from the outside in. His history, his first year was overwhelmed. Second year, he'd give you 3 or 4 good innings. It'd always be a bad inning, you get knocked out. This year, he's just taken another step forward. He's taken, in two years, he's taken real steps forward. Now he's got velocity at 96, 97. Now he's mastering the strike zone, and he's shown durability. So far, so good. Now, this first start was against a pretty good hitting team in Detroit, and he choked them. So he's grown as a pitcher. He's earned this at this point in time. A year ago today, you'd say, well, he's just a guy. I'm waiting for the bad inning to show up, and he blows up. So far, so good. in all of his spring training starts with the exception of one, and his first opening weekend starts. So let's give him some more space to make a judgment. I think he's on the right track. I think Niebla has helped him a great deal, and he says Darvish has helped him too. So we get seeing a young guy grow.
I remember last year I felt bad for the guy because he would pitch pretty well through the rotation twice, and they would rarely let him go through a third time. And so what ended up happening is he would leave the game maybe winning. The team would be up, but he was only at 4 1/3 innings or 4 2/3 innings. So he always got pulled, often with the lead, but he would never get the win. So it was odd that they just didn't have confidence that he could go that third time through the lineup. And now clearly he can. Now it seems like he's not, I guess, placing the ball in the zone. He's actually just trusting his talent and letting that ball go and let the action on the ball take it where it's going to go.
He's getting movement on the ball, and he's got more velocity than he's ever had. I mean, he was never a 97 pitcher, and he can pop 97 fastballs. So far, so good. We'll just see where it goes, but he becomes kind of an important, integral part of this pitching rotation just because of the health issues with so many of these other guys.
Okay, let's keep moving. Let's go back to Dodger talk. This is with Illegal 06. Hey, I do not know what baseball teams are doing outside of L.A., but Angelinos have options to spend their hard-earned money, and the Dodgers are bringing in some of the best entertainment to L.A. over 81 days a year. Not only team improvements, but the stadium is a vibe.
It's rocking and rolling. And now, the cost to go to Dodger games is just unbelievable. The LA Times financial guy, Bill Shakin, wrote a great article comparing Dodger prices to other prices of the teams in Southern California. And to me, boy, it's really expensive. But it's your dollar, and you're going to make your decision based on where you want your entertainment dollar to go. But for a family of 4, for the lowest price ticket, for a family of 4, plus parking, plus hot dogs for each, a beer for mom and dad, and soft drink for the kids, is $413 for a night at Dodger baseball with the cheapest ticket at Chavez Arena, $413. Now, LA is such a big market, maybe they can draw that because the product's so good. You want to see Dodger baseball, and there's so many people that you can draw from. But $413, even for me, that raises my eyebrow. And the Padre price tag, I think, is $200. I want to say $218 for a family of 4. That's still pricey for San Diego, but yet San Diego sells out. Again, you have a right to spend your entertainment dollar the way you do, but John, the prices to me are just staggering.
Yeah, well, that's everywhere. I mean, we went through it with COVID, prices going up, and now we've been seeing prices go up for the players' salaries and everything. And when you have a payroll and you're paying all these dudes, you have $403 million payroll for the Dodgers, right? I mean, that money's got to come from somewhere, so it comes from that TV network, it comes from the turnstiles, people buying all the stuff. But yeah, it is a great vibe at Dodger Stadium. I mean, everything is going their way. But see, it's like a K-shaped economy, right? Some people got a ton of money to spend right now. I mean, there's money ain't no limit for some folks these days. Yeah. And so they're out there and they're showing up at Dodger Stadium.
Just like they're showing up at Petco Park. I mean, it is phenomenal. This is such a much smaller economic market than any place else. It is just amazing. Hey, listen, we hope you have enjoyed this podcast. Boy, we had a lot of topics on the table, a lot of in-depth conversation. Please check my website. I write on it every day of the week, LeeHacksawHamilton.com. It's posted. It's there first thing every morning. Check my best 15 minutes in sports. Read my one man's opinion column on Tiger Woods today. Agree or disagree doesn't matter as long as you read it. Tell everybody what we do, share, and then subscribe. And, of course, we want you to give us a thumbs up, hit the follow button, give us a 5-star rating also on Apple. We'll be back here on Thursday to talk Final Four weekend, talk more baseball, a lot more in the NFL to talk about because we do sports talk the way it should be done. Topics on the table, and then we argue about it, and we let you be part of it on Fans Forum. John, have yourself a great sports weekend.
Great weekend. We got Padres, Giants. I'm going to be watching every minute of those games.
Podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers. Go to DIXIELINE.com. See all the things they have to offer to you. And to you, we say thank you for being part of Hacksaw's Headlines.
Join us again for Hacksaw's Headlines on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And find the audio version on your favorite podcast apps.
Touchdown, San Diego!
For more content, go to LeeHacksawHamilton.com.